Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now guys, to surety or not to surety seems to be the main reason that is still keeping Omoyele Sowore in the clutches of the DSS. Now Apostle Johnson Suleman has come out to say that he might stand surety, and there are several reasons underpinning this, and we will go through those reasons one by one. But first guys, I bring you this: why I may stand surety for Sowore, Apostle Johnson Suleman. So that's the headline, why I may stand surety for Sowore, and this headline is attributed to Apostle Suleman. So now let's see what Johnson has to say. Apostle Johnson Suleman on Monday lamented the continued detention of Omoyele Sowore, convener of the Revolution Now movement. Suleman disclosed that he is considering standing surety for Sowore to perfect his bail. Recall that the Department of State Services (DSS) had recently picked up Omoyele Sowore for calling for a revolution. He was subsequently arraigned alongside one Olawale Bakare on a 7-count charge of treasonable felony, cyber stalking, and money laundering before the Justice Ijoma Ojukwu-led court. Justice Ojukwu, who initially granted him bail in the sum of 100 million naira, later reduced it to 50 million naira. Despite reducing the bail bond, Sowore had remained in custody due to his inability to produce sureties to perfect his bail. However, Suleman, in a tweet, wrote, "I am really worried that nobody is ready to stand surety for Yele Sowore. Yes, he has hurt a lot of people, me inclusive. But do we focus on that and let him rot where he is, even if he cost it? In a situation like this, what would Christ do? I am considering standing surety for him." So now this is now the short and to the point position that Suleman has put out in the public space. But as I said, there are different elements to this. Now, saying that I am considering standing surety for Sowore is completely different from saying that I am standing surety for Sowore. So that is the first element. So effectively a publicity stunt effectively is what this guy is doing, Johnson Suleman, and we all know him for that anyway. He's very quick to find a way to maneuver himself into the papers and into the headlines, and now he's saying he's considering. If you're considering, then you consider in the privacy of your own thoughts, and then once you've reached a conclusion on your consideration, and then you can then announce to the public space that I have taken this position, if it's a position that the public wants to hear. You don't go and tell people that I am thinking. No, you think in your own head. And then once you've reached a conclusion, then you state that conclusion to the people that it might likely impact on. So a publicity stunt, of course, by this Suleman character, a known chancer, Stephanie Otobo and all that, we're still on that one. We've not yet resolved it. So that's the first element. The second element is, would Omoyele Sowore even want somebody like Johnson Suleman standing surety for him? They say that somebody that is in trouble should not really look too closely at the person that can help him out. But that is not the situation with Omoyele Sowore, because this guy is very particular. He knows that the DSS cannot detain him infinitely on these very vague sort of charges, because this is not a Dasuki situation. This is a human rights activist and a public campaigner and a pro-people person and an international person as well. So this is not Dasuki, who everybody considers to be a crook anyway, and they're just considering that as a private affair between Buhari and Dasuki. This is a completely different situation. So they cannot detain Sowore forever, and there will be that point in time where somebody will make that decision to stand surety for him. But then, of course, who would make that decision, and why has that decision not been made? Well, let's look at who would make that decision first. The person that will make that decision is the person that has the understanding that aligning his name with this cause that this guy is fighting for now would serve him in good stead in the future. Because now when Sowore comes out of prison now, he will come out of prison a hero, because he's a human rights activist and his battle is for good governance, and anybody that is standing in opposition to him, then obviously by converse, by opposite logic, is standing with bad governance. So when this guy comes out of prison, he will come out a hero. So who would then be the key players in the battle that is undertaking will be the story for the future. So it is a bit like Obafemi Awolowo. Then you think of Obafemi Awolowo and you align the name Jack Conde and all these kind of names there, because the Obafemi Awolowo name continues to stand in Nigeria till today. The Wole Soyinka name continues to stand in Nigeria till today. The Balarabe Musa names and all these kind of names, the Ahmedu Bello names, and so all the solid names, they continue to stand in Nigeria today, and the people that stood with them in battle, they share in the largesse, in the aura and the goodwill of that name. So that is why somebody will stand surety for Sowore, because anybody that stands surety for Sowore understands that they're writing their name in gold in the annals of the history of that country. So that is why somebody would stand as surety for Sowore, and that is what they stand to gain. Now, why has nobody then taken this golden opportunity to stand for Sowore? Because there are endless amount of people that can immediately, without even a thought, meet that bail condition for him and stand surety for him. Well, the reason why somebody has not stepped forward so far is because they know how vindictive and vengeful the Buhari regime is. So whoever then stands surety for Sowore is immediately then in the clutches of Buhari cabal, the DSS, etc. So immediately whoever stands surety for Sowore is immediately then under investigation and will very quickly be arrested in no distant time, and they will then find charges to align against this person, and that person that stands surety for Sowore might not necessarily have the sort of public support that Sowore has. And by the way, anybody that stands surety for Sowore is almost certainly likely to have some sort of skeleton in their cupboard, because for you to be able to stand surety in Nigeria for that amount of money that's been set as Sowore's bill, there has to be something about your history in business or whatever that the police will pay attention to. That is just the way the system works in Nigeria. So now whoever stands surety for Sowore, and why nobody is standing surety for Sowore so far, is because nobody wants to put their head above the parapet and then have the attention of Buhari and his cabals focused on them, because of course they know that they don't have the public goodwill of a Sowore, and if Buhari and the cabal get their clutches into them, then they will go more down the Dasuki route than the Sowore route. So that is why nobody is standing surety for Sowore so far. But then of course we cannot continue to have this guy in the clutches of the DSS. We cannot continue to have that. So now what happens next? Apostle Johnson Suleman, of course, is not the most likely candidate, but then why is Femi Falana himself not standing surety for this guy is reasons that I'm not yet 100% on. Maybe there's some sort of legal thing that precludes him, or maybe he's just taking a position that is doing enough for this guy, because Femi Falana is doing enough for this guy. I have no doubts about that. He's doing this case pro bono, because if he was charging for this case, he would even be in excess of the bail charges anyway, the bail conditions, but is already doing this case pro bono. And you might well say that it is not really pro bono because of the publicity that Femi Falana is also getting off the back of these cases. But Femi Falana is known for doing these cases pro bono, and not only in Nigeria, he goes all around Africa fighting the legal battles of the people oppressed and repressed. So he's doing this case pro bono, so he's already doing his own quota. So now who now needs to stand forward then to do their own quota? Where are the prominent names? They say, oh, Sowore is a Yoruba name. Where are your Yoruba brothers? But I have never once heard Sowore saying that he was fighting for the Yoruba people. Not once has that guy ever said he was fighting for the Yoruba people. The only thing that I have heard him say, and I hear him say this all the time, is that he is fighting for a better Nigeria. You will recall that this guy went around all of the villages in Nigeria in his campaign. We also saw it documented online, because he was putting out the videos as he was going to villages in Borno, visiting kings in Onitsha, and going back to Sokoto to go and meet the youth there and speak to their rights. He traveled the length and breadth of that country. So Sowore has never positioned himself as a Yoruba man. He has always positioned himself as a Nigerian, but now all of a sudden that he's now in trouble for fighting. He's not even in trouble. He's been held illegally for fighting for the betterment of every Nigerian, from the Hausa man to the Fulani man to the Igbo man to the Bubo man to the Robo man to the Yoruba man. Is fighting for the right of everybody. But now that is in the clutches of the DSS, is now suddenly a Yoruba man. Where are the Yoruba people now? They are not fighting for their own people now. You saw how quickly we got Kano at now. These Yoruba people, they are so wayo. It's now suddenly a Yoruba thing, even though the guy's battle was for the whole of Nigeria. So now where is now the people, or where are now the people to stand in solidarity with him for this battle that he is fighting for the betterment of you and your children and everyone else? Conversations in the comment section. Apostle Johnson Suleman, ever one quick to an opportunity for publicity, is piping up again with his usual preening and peacocking nonsense. This completely joker of a guy, Apostle Suleman, whatever it's called. So let's dismiss that, but he has opened this window of opportunity into this conversation to ask that question, why Sowore is still in custody, or why is Sowore still in custody. So come tell me all about your thoughts on this in the comment section. But before you do this, click on the red subscribe button so it turns gray. Bell button notifies you every time I drop a new video. Then come tell me why you are of the thought that Sowore is still in custody in the comment section. So I'll leave you here. Join in the comment section, but here I say peace.